it's time for another video, and I'm going to continue my series looking at songs, but this is a slight difference. I'm moving on to 1969, and I'm going to do my usual top 20 songs, which are single releases, UK single releases. I didn't make that clear before, but some American single releases that weren't released in the UK as singles, I'm not including those. But this video, I want to concentrate on album tracks, and I've got 20 of them, and I'm going to run through them. These are my personal favourites for 1969. I'm not ranking them apart from the top 5, but anyway, I'm going to go through them and make some brief comment. It will only be brief because the video will get too long. These album tracks, I'm going to start off with Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, which was the first recorded material on the first Crosby, Stills and Nash album, their debut, and of course it was written by Steve Stills. I absolutely love this. It's a bit of a sing-along. The acoustic guitar playing is absolutely 5-star, and the harmonics between the three of them is something to be really held on to in life. Absolutely gorgeous. Next up, a complete contrast, the opening track on Hot Rats by Frank Zappa, which is mainly an instrumental, and the first track is called Peaches on Regalia, which is only a few minutes long. I think it encapsulates Zappa's tremendous knowledge of genres and how to fit together these genres in a manner which was favourable with the American listening public for popular music. It's absolutely awesome. Peaches on Regalia certainly combines lots of sort of classical sort of influences with a cacophony of very advanced instrumental work by him and his band. So number 3 on this list, and this is from the album Stand Up by Jethro Tull, and my favourite on this album is called We Used to Know. It's a beautifully slow sort of ballad, but the highlight is the Martin Barre guitar solo, which really just puts a shiver down my spine when I hear it. It's so well played, not particularly fast, but with so much emotion. Next up is from the band's second album, The Band, and it's The Weight. I wasn't a great fan of them at this particular time, but this track caught my ear fairly favourably, and I just loved the amalgam of vocal expertise on show here, and the way that the rhythm section just glided through this song with Robbie Robinson twiddling around with his guitar. Absolutely brilliant. And so another one, this one is by Santana, and it's on their debut. It's called Oya Como Va. I've included this as one of my top album tracks because I first heard it in a bar on Mallorca Island way back when, and I'd never heard Santana before, and it was early in the morning, and we were going over, my father and I, to get a beer or a Coke. Maybe it was a bit early for beer, and this music was just launching its way out onto the street from this bar, and the Latin sort of percussion feel just made me realise that this is where my musical career was going. And the next one that I adore is from after the fall and rise and fall of the British Empire by the Kinks, and it's a track called Victoria, which is a tongue-in-cheek sort of amusing tone by Ray Davies about the Queen in the previous century. But I just love the sort of rhythmic pop feel to it and the rather humorous lyric. The next one is from the album by Stone the Crows. I think it was possibly their debut. And this is a band I saw live a lot at that particular time. And this is called The Touch of Your Loving Hand, which is an absolutely awesome slow blues with some tremendous piano and great guitar work from Les Harvey. But the star of the show is Maggie Bell on vocals, and she actually sounded like the Glaswegian Janis Joplin. So much emotional grit in her voice. It's quite wonderful. Next, a song that I grew to like, Bird on a Wire by Leonard Cohen from his Songs from a Room album. I really grew to love this one, really. It's the way he sort of almost dances his way through the words and makes them mean so much to all who are listening. And of course, touched very much the singer-songwriter listener that existed all through sort of the private sector in small bedsits. Next up is a piece of music that you might not be familiar with. It's actually called Prelude the Storm, and it was from a Welsh band called Man on their debut album. They were quite a raunchy rock band, but this was a piece of sort of wondrous, sort of instrumental, classical, arranged, synthesized movement, displaying the activities of the weather, as noted by the title. But it was a very much a piece that I loved to lay back in splendour, usually after I'd hit a few strokes of that Mary Jane. And so that's that bit done. Chunk on this best songs from 1969. Had to include this one, a debut album by King Crimson, In the Court of the Crimson King, and of course it's the iconic 21st Century Schizoid Man, where we realised that one Robert Fripp really knew how to energise the guitar. It's an awesome piece of music, and what many will argue that they never actually performed anything better than that. I'm not sure about that, but it is a terrific, heavy, scissor-like, electric, gun-like performance by Fripp and the band. Next up is also a piece that really shocks you into action, and I first heard it on the live cut from the album Ummagumma, and it's Careful with That Axe, Eugene, with Roger Waters frightening us all to death midway through the rather dreary sort of psychedelic phasey rhythms, and then he launched himself at the microphone. So too, Ain't You Coming Home, Baby? Babe, in fact, no baby. This was on the first album by Bloodwind Pig, who were basically created by one Mick Abrahams after he fell out with Ian Anderson in Jethro Tull. It's a blues with a lot of horn on, and it really is such a powerful piece. Last track on the side, and I've always felt it to be a brilliant piece of sort of jazz rock blues. So moving on, I couldn't escape putting a song in here from the album Astral Weeks, and I've chosen Madame George. It's difficult to choose a best from this album as it's all 5-star, but Madame George, I think Morrison's vocal delivery is unparalleled. And now moving on from the only album by Blind Faith, the collaboration between Stevie Winwood after he sort of left Traffic, and Eric Clapton, who had jettisoned away from Cream, and they did the one album, and this was the opening cut and was retained in the set of Winwood from there on. Can't Find My Way Home. It's a beautiful sort of rock ballad with some tasty guitar from Slowhand, and I really love it. Now we've got 5 that I'm now going to go through, with 6 to come. The last one is going to be a bit of a surprise to you, but it's not in the top 5, but I want to select it last. It's sort of like my top 5, and the 5th choice. You can't always get what you want from the Rolling Stones from their album Let It Bleed. It's a tour de force of 7 minutes plus. Mick's vocal is probably the greatest he's ever done, and the race to the finish line, the rhythm section is without question wondrous, with Charlie Watts and Bill Wyman, and Keith Richards, of course, adding his to Pennyworth. It's a wonderful tune. Number 4, I've got a very lengthy piece from the album The Valentine's Suite, and it is in fact The Valentine's Suite. I've always loved this 17-minute opus. The band are really at top form, and it's been part of the set, was part of the set way past 69, and a wonderful display of jazz rock, but particular reference to Dave Greenslade, Dick Hexnall-Smith, and the leader of the band, the infamous John Heisman, on drums. I've never seen or heard a better drummer than John Heisman, and I saw him on a number of occasions. And number 3, yes, America not in this list too often, but this track is. It's from the first album by Chicago, and they were called the Chicago Transit Authority at the time. And I've selected a very short song amidst all the lengthy pieces, and it's called Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is? It is absolutely terrific. It's got a terrific vocal. The horns mesh with the guitar and drums immaculately, and it's a lovely, happy song as well. And it's about 3 minutes, but it's probably the greatest thing they ever did. I think it was released as a single in the States, but not in the UK. So we're down to 2 now. Plus that mystery one that I'll end on. And the second offering is Boz Scaggs' solo album, and it's the absolute gem, Loan Me a Diamond, which takes up most of side 2. It starts out as a very slow sort of blues with Scaggs on the piano, on the organ, I think, singing, and then his guitar player, who is the one and only Dwayne Allman, starts to get into the act after a few minutes, and then completely blows the whole song out of the universe with possibly one of the greatest guitar solos that I've ever heard in my life, in a studio for sure. It owes repeated listening, and the way it's sort of set up with him coming out of one speaker is absolutely terrific. So to the number 1 then, and I had to choose Here Comes the Sun from Abbey Road. This is a song that I believe is one of the happiest popular songs that's ever been written. And ironically, of course, it was written by George Harrison. Little to add, really. It is just perfect. And now to finish it off, that oddity that ended up in the 20, it's a song called American Boy Soldier by a British heavy metal band called Edgar Broughton Band, but it's not heavy metal at all. And it's sung by their bassist, and it's called American Boy Soldier. And it's a very, very comedic, amusing, political tale about the war in Vietnam and how America has dug their own grave in the war, and how they're paying with coffins coming back at regular intervals. It is a tremendous song, although it might upset a few. So that is my first album tracks review, 1969. Hope you enjoyed it.